Ashante, mon amours. How's it going? I'm great. I am on day 2 of 3 days off. So yesterday I just got to be in a void and wander around and just do some self-care, and I indulged in a lot of my favorite foods. I treated myself to a Valentine's date last night with my favorite pasta from my favorite Italian deli and some really good ice cream flavors and some chocolates and some wine, and it was really fun. There's plenty of leftovers. I'm gonna take a break tonight. I'm gonna be less indulgent tonight and then finish my fun leftovers tomorrow. So all in moderation. How is everybody? We're here for our romance reading for the week using the Romance Angels Oracle deck. Let's see what we need to know for our highest good. Heavenly Father, Mother, Son, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. I like to work with Jesus and Mary Magdalene to help bring me my soulmate and my equal partner, because if nothing else, they were equal companions and they saw eye to eye. And whether they were romantic or not, I think they were soulmates, at least platonically speaking. So I like to think of them as helping me on my journey, and I'm inviting them to help us on ours now. So what should we know for this week? Healing family issues. This came up in the anchor message. It's like our favorite all the time, right? Just constant work, constant. It's like hygiene and house cleaning. Family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. It's funny, you know, things have been coming up this week from like my distant memories, a very early childhood, deep subconscious that have been, you know, it's not something you don't realize is connected to some of your current patterns and behaviors, but sometimes there's just this break that happens when you have the memory, you have the insight, and it all happens in such a way where you're in this vulnerable, open moment, and your heart gets to break for the sake of healing. And you can sort of grieve that memory and go back and kind of sort it out in your imagination, kind of relive it, you know, the way that you needed to, or be there for your former self and swoop in and be that comfort and that caring shoulder to lean on for your past self, you know? And so there's moments that have been coming up this week that I've just been having these memories and realizations, and it's not like they've never come up before, but they've come up in like just this certain way where it's just allowed like all this emotion to come through and process, but I'm feeling lighter and lighter. And I think that that's kind of what, you know, January and February have been all about, as far as coming out of the end of that 2022 cycle, like that the final purge of all of these issues. It's like come spring, you know, when Aries comes around, we're going to be ready to move forward into this new timeline, this huge new start in our life. And we're kind of like in that threshold right now, but things just really haven't kicked off. That spring energy is when it's going to kick off. So what we're doing now is we're really preparing the vessel, like we talk about in Kabbalah, so that when we do have new chances at opportunities for love, new people to date, or we have a chance where our energy is meeting up with our partner's energy and we're both open to see eye to eye and go further, you know. When we have an opportunity, though, we can do things differently now, or we can choose to. It's a practice. And as we practice, we start building emotional muscle memory for these new patterns, for these new mindsets. But it just takes discipline at first. It takes presence. It takes awareness. Some night this week, we were talking about the power of staying in the present and being realistic about what's being presented in front of you now, not getting caught up in future projections, not getting obsessed with the past. Be in the present moment, right? And so as we heal these family wounds, we can show up in the present moment and observe how we feel, and we can observe ourselves wanting to default and react into that comfortable pattern, that default setting. But we can stop ourselves and we can slow down and we can say, okay, based on my lived experience and the wisdom that I am gaining through what I've come through in my life and how I'm embodying it now, like how do I want to show up in my romantic life now? What's healthy for me? You know, how can I communicate what I want clearly and honestly and authentically? How can I overcome a tendency to be needy for someone else's validation or to give you that high, that jolt, right? Because if we go out trying to date from a sense of wanting someone to give us a high for the romantic, like, you know, fun and get drunk on, you know, all of the attention and the excitement, it's inevitably going to end in failure because we're giving that power away to someone else. And we're entering into an exchange based on codependent tendencies to get something from someone from the exchange, rather than being satisfied and joyful and happy and not needing to reach for that validation from an outside source. It's like you already can like cultivate that excitement within yourself. You're not needy of it. And so therefore, when opportunities do present themselves, you can really look at it realistically. Is this person in alignment? Am I really attracted to them? Am I attracted to them and are we in alignment? Or am I just excited about an option and I'm just going for it because I'm reaching for junk food because I'm hungry? You know, not that people are junk food, but, you know, just mindlessly and without consciousness trying to fill a space next to you, it never leads anywhere good. And even if you start what you think is going to be a genuine relationship from a place of neediness, it's not going to last because that partner is going to be repelled. That energy does not build desire, right? Two people have to be unattached enough to have space so that there can be some longing and some back and forth and some chemistry built. So as we heal our family issues, we can transcend beyond looking for a partner that gives us what our dad never gave us. We can transcend beyond looking for a partner that gives us what we think our mom didn't give us. You know, we don't need someone to fill those gaps because we've done our own healing and we realize that validation is not going to come from that person. So it's not fair to put that on them. It becomes like a responsibility, you know, and you don't want to carry that around for anyone. And so then you can have a real attraction with someone based on true chemistry, true interest. And if you take it slowly, then you can gauge it and you can overcome the tendency and the muscle memory to fall back into relationship dynamics that you witnessed between your parents, right? It's likely that they, you know, weren't perfectly healthy, like, couple. I mean, who is, right? But, like, now, luckily, we have more in the pop culture just about personal development and relationship skills and, you know, a little bit of pop psychology out there. And I think that it can be very helpful to people. And so, you know, our parents and their parents and the parents before them, they didn't have that, you know, they didn't have the internet. They had like magazines. And if you look back in the 50s and 60s, the magazines were like geared towards telling women like how to like make their husband happy with like being a good homemaker. And it's all very like nuclear family, very subservient, very toxic, you know, rigid ideas about cliche roles, you know, and it's like we're We're not living in those times anymore. But the training that we've been given, passed down from generation to generation, what we witnessed for our however 18 years of our life was based on that old programming, right? So we have to reprogram ourselves according to what is true for us now. And also, I think that it is very helpful to note, and never forget this, that in order to even have a chance at maintaining a healthy relationship and a healthy level of attraction and desire, you have to know that you have to be working on your relationship with yourself, bettering and developing and transforming yourself. You have to be working on your relationship with source. That's going to be your main source of security, of validation, of feeling like you belong, right? You don't need anybody's permission. You have source's permission, right? And so got to get right with source. You got to get right with yourself. Then you also have to learn how to have relationship skills, right? You have to learn communication. You have to learn about people's attachment styles. You have to learn about people's love languages and how to communicate in a healthy way without being unwittingly aggressive, right? So we have to learn to have relationships. Then we also have to learn to maintain desire and what creates desire, because it's different for different people. So we have to learn what creates desire and also what creates desire for our partner and how to maintain that, and juxtapose how to maintain a sense of security and stability. So basically we are doing a 3-ring circus act on ballet point shoes on top of stacked stools that are being held together, held up in the air by a bunch of acrobats who are balancing on some kind of rolly ball. I'm seeing a seal with a ball on his nose, and we're on top of all of that. It's very precarious. That's why people's relationships don't work out, because back in the day, people used to just tough it out and suffer. And now they're not really doing that anymore. So don't beat yourself up if you feel like you have failed because your relationship didn't work out. It takes a lot of work to make a relationship work these days. And it takes 2 people who want that commitment, because there's too many distractions and ways to numb out. And those things are illusions, and they're false, and they're not satisfying, and they're not fulfilling. But people are stupid, and they're not wise, and they're foolish, and they don't know what's good for them, and they don't know what's going to be satisfying. So they fall back into the body consciousness of wanting to reach for instant gratification, comfort, pleasure, happiness, the hit of adrenaline, right? That dopamine. So it takes work. And that's why it's helpful when we date to take it slow and figure out what kind of person you're sitting across from, and if they're going to be somebody that can even have endurance or ability to have relationship. Starts narrowing down your choices. All right, what else do we need to know for the week? What is going to help us in our love lives in order to set us up to find a lasting and authentic love? Flirt. So lighten up, Myrtle. Don't take it all so seriously. Don't be a prudy tooty Judy. So extend your lighthearted energy to others. Not only are we healing our issues and coming light of foot without our baggage, we are going to be flirty. It's hard to attract if you're not putting out flirtatious energy, right? Especially nowadays. People don't want to offend anyone, and they're a little bit worried about getting rejected, or being made to feel like they're sexually harassing, or crossing a boundary or disrespecting. So you kind of have to put out little signals that it's okay to approach. And then, for some, they don't pick up on signals, and you have to make them a little bit more pronounced. For others, very subtle signals are all that are required. And if you do anything too extreme, they might be completely freaked out. So take the temperature of the room, do the best you can, but get out there and extend your flirty energy to everyone. That's what I like to do. It takes the pressure off when you're out and about and then you do see someone you're attracted to, if you're used to just being flirtatious with everyone. And I'm not saying like go out and be a loose moraled person who's not trustworthy and who's like carrying on, you know, these inappropriate exchanges with people in order to get like attention and all that. Like you want to be trustworthy to your partner. What I'm saying is be playful with everyone out at the grocery store, the cashier, the people behind the butcher counter, like whoever you're talking to, whether it be your preferred gender to sexualize or not. Do it with everybody, old, young, whoever. Be playful, right? And so then it just will come naturally when it matters, and then you'll have practice, and then you'll be smooth with charisma, because you won't be nervous and you won't be like, how do I flirt? You'll just be like a flirtatious person. All right. So what else is going to be helpful for us this week? Well, at least we got some fun energy to balance out the family healing. Such a drag. Oh, you deserve love. Let us not forget. The one thing that lingers as residue that's left behind from these family wounds, the family issues that we heal, are feelings of inadequacy, or that we don't deserve love, or that our needs didn't matter growing up, or, you know, that we weren't adequate or capable, or we didn't belong. And so those leave a core wound of feeling like we are unworthy or undeserving of love. So part of building the vessel to contain something coming in, to be able to receive someone's love, it's like, you've heard, you know, you can't love someone unless you love yourself. Well, that's true in so many ways. Like, you don't know how to love someone unless you love yourself. You're incapable of loving someone if you can't love yourself, because you're in survival mode. You're not overflowing to give, right? So your idea of love, what you're really feeling if you don't love yourself and you think you love someone else, is like you're feeling the need and addiction for their validation and their love towards you. And that's what you love. So healing this family issue, what you're really looking to heal on an even deeper level below the family issues was the damage left behind by the wound inflicted of the belief that you aren't worthy, or the impression that was left on you that you weren't worthy. And in fact, somebody may not have ever even said anything to imply that you weren't. However, it could have just been the culture of the household, that your little mind that wasn't developed enough perceived things in such a way that you interpreted the tension of the house, the tension between the adults around you, their lack of personal development and consciousness. You interpreted all of that as it being you, that you were in the wrong, or that you didn't belong, or that you weren't worthy. And so in order to manifest anything, including love, we have to believe that we are worthy of that. And so if we're in love and we don't feel like we're worthy of it, then there will be like constant ways that we will self-sabotage, right? All of those subconscious patterns will come up. All of those hidden conflicting desires that believe that, oh, wow, this person is going to reject me, so I need to protect myself, and I either need to reject them first, or I need to come up with ways that I know, since I know inevitably they're going to reject me, that I can act out or do things that are put up a facade so they'll reject the facade, but I'm protected because they never really rejected me, right? So we have to go back and find all of those wounds, all of those hidden conflicting desires that are there to try to, hidden conflicting motives that are there to try to protect us as defense mechanisms, but they're really only serving to hold us back, right? For causing damage. So work on your belief that you are lovable and that you deserve love. And you really are lovable and you deserve love just by being alive. If you're breathing, you have a purpose on earth, and you are a living representation of God experiencing life through the unique experience of your vessel. So you deserve to be here. You deserve love. And the only thing that is blocking that now is your own ability to believe, to be able to open yourself up fully to receive it, and then to prepare yourself by doing the healing work to set yourself up to be able to have the relationship that is authentically aligned with you and that you desire, right? And your partner may be out there preparing themselves too. So sometimes we have to wait and be patient and trust because other people are going through their process as well. All right, and finally, our final card, your romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. So yes, if there's someone that's caught your interest, then, you know, my Kabbalah teacher David had posted a really good clip today. And if it's still in his stories, I'll see if I can go back and share it in my stories. You can go follow me, Liz_Taylor_Magick, Magick with a CK on Instagram. And I try to share a bunch of my stories and different things, but my Kabbalah teacher, David, was talking about how if there's someone that we like and someone we have a crush on, then there's like, from a Kabbalistic perspective, first we need to turn inward and make sure that we're not needy. Because if we're reaching out of a hunger or a thirsty Thursday, for something to fill that void, then it's not gonna go well. There's gonna be no fulfillment. There's going to be chaos. So we pray out loud to the Creator, help me not to be needy and guide me and lead me, you know. And then when you feel really confident, if your feelings are the same and you're not feeling like you are reaching out for attention or to get a hit of like adrenaline or dopamine or whatever, and the feelings are genuine, you're confident, you're not needy, then according to Kabbalah, you're obliged to sort of put yourself out there to the person in some form or fashion, and then just like leave it up to the Creator and surrender your expectations, let the expectations go, and surrender the outcome and see what the universe brings you, and just trust the will of divine. Because if something is authentically aligned with you, then it's going to get sucked into your vortex and it's going to resonate and it's going to come together. If something is not authentically aligned with you, then it will not get sucked into your vortex because you will not resonate. It will be dissonant. So that's also a good reminder to pay attention to your feelings and your energy and your mindset, because sometimes we can just fall out of life. Like sometimes we're not resonating even with ourselves because we're in a bad mood or in a funk, or we've let our energy grow stagnant, right? I felt my energy getting stagnant just because it had been so cold. I'm not big into like going out in the freezing weather if I don't have to. And I'd been sick, and so the last couple of days it's been warm, and I've gotten to go out and like take a walk and go running today, and it was so nice to just move my energy and get that flowing. So yeah, you guys, I feel like good things are coming. We're just in a point right now where we are in between, and we need to get our energy stoked and primed to put out the magnetism. And we need to get our consciousness and our subconsciousness and our self-worth ready, knowing that we deserve love, so that when love does come in, we can take it slow. We can get to know people before we start emotionally investing in them and start playing hoochie coochie time. Draw out the attraction process, right? That ensures that people are going to be more emotionally attracted to you as well as physically. Excuse me. I'm still like getting over a cold. But yeah, so draw out that process. Don't rush through it, because the longer that you take, that builds the vessel stronger, okay? All right, y'all. I hope y'all have a good rest of your evening and have a good day tomorrow. And y'all be good, but not too good. Ciao.